Last week we talked about drinking, answering the question of, is drinking alcohol a sin? And if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it up on the screen here. But basically the gist of it was, alcohol itself isn't inherently bad when consumed in moderation. But when overly consumed, yes, it can be sinful. Now, what I want to talk about today is kind of giving another perspective on drinking alcohol. And this is something that probably haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and this likely is something that you've never even thought about before, but it's the truth. And it's something that I think needs to be said. Let's take a deep look at life in general, what we're all striving for. We all want happiness, right? All of our actions, everything that we do is oriented towards gaining some kind of ultimate joy. And in that pursuit of happiness, we base our happiness off of moments where we feel most happy. So we repeatedly do the things that we experience that happiness from. Like we remember good times or good feelings and we try to replicate them, right? That makes sense? Following me so far? Okay, examples. Sports. We play sports because we experience some kind of joy from playing the game. Competition, succeeding, winning. We like that feeling, so we keep playing to experience that feeling again. We try to replicate it. And it's the same for, reading books or watching movies. We read the same books or watch the same movies again, or the same types of books or movies, and we get some kind of good feeling from them, and then we read them or watch them again in order to try to replicate that same feeling. Drinking, going out, partying, something that a lot of people do as a source of enjoyment. And it's probably where a lot of young adults are first introduced to alcohol in some kind of social atmosphere with friends or whoever. But social events that include alcohol are seen as fun by a lot of people, right? And similar to what I was talking about before, it's Friday night, go out with your friends, you have a good time, have some drinks in the process, maybe more than you should, and you look back on it and you think, you know what, that was a good time. And you acknowledge that you gained some kind of happiness from doing that. And then you long for that feeling of happiness again, and then you go out and you party and you drink again to try to replicate that feeling. Now here's the important part. A lot of people look to social drinking as a means of happiness or a way to have a good time. But the problem is, what you do then is you analyze, what about this situation is bringing me that feeling of happiness? And in most cases, you point to the alcohol. And you decide it's the drinks that are giving me that feeling. It's the alcohol that's making a difference in making me happy. And then in every social event or outside of social situations, you drink more because you associate that with the feeling of happiness that you're trying to replicate from when you had a good time hanging out with your friends. But the important point is, it's not the drinks that are making you happy. It's the people. It's interacting with people and enjoying their presence that brings that feeling of happiness, not the alcohol. And you can try to make the argument that, alcoholic beverages bring some direct happiness, but really the only argument you can make for that is that alcoholic drinks taste good. And I have two objections to that. First is, if you were genuinely interested in a good tasting drink, your taste buds would likely be more satisfied with some kind of sugary beverage like soda or juice or whatever. So why don't people just drink soda if it's just for the taste? Because as far as I know, only from what I've heard, admittedly, alcoholic beverages are not the most pleasant tasting drinks. Am I right? And second is based on the principle of diminishing marginal utility, which states that the utility that you gain from consuming something, or the benefit that you gain from consuming something, eventually will diminish or decrease. So, example, donuts are really good until you're on your 15th donut. And even if alcoholic beverages do taste good, they can't still taste good when you're so many drinks deep and intoxicated. You're definitely not still drinking it for the taste at that point. This is so important to understand, that we think we find happiness in drinking because we base our happiness off of enjoyable moments like partying or social drinking, and then we think that alcohol is the source of that happiness, but that feeling is something that drinks can't give. That joy that tugs at your heart comes from the people around you. Interacting, connecting, laughter, friendship, those things fill us up, and they don't require alcohol. You can have a great time, a wonderful time to enjoy yourself completely sober. So why don't we do that? You don't need the drinks. Stop depending on them. Let's get rid of this drinking culture because it is unnecessary. Stop trying to find joy in a bottle and find it in meaningful, quality interaction with the people around you.